Hello and welcome to Grognard Solo Gaming. I am the Grognard and today we are playing For Against Darkness, and we are doing so using the Fantasy Solo Roleplaying Framework that was created by Carsten over at the Solospelunking channel. And his channel is going to be linked below, as well as the framework if I can get that to work. Otherwise you can find the Fantasy Solo Roleplaying Framework among his community posts on his channel. Right. So I have gone ahead and I have written down 4 characters, and I have a warrior named Darren, a rogue named Morrigan, a cleric named Freya, and a wizard named Magnus, and they are all level 1. And I am going to be using the RPG Light rules that are on page 67 in the basic rules for Against Darkness. Let's see if I can get that into the frame. Right. So that was that. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to be using something called Roll and Play. That was a Kickstarter that I backed some time ago, and those are for generating backgrounds and relationships type of things for the characters and between the characters. And that from those books is where I got the names as well. But in order to not spend too much time on that now, what I'm going to do is that starting with the next session, I'm going to start every session by adding some details to the characters. And then I also have the monster decks for Against Darkness. I assume that I will have to do a bit of reskinning. I think the Fantasy Solo Roleplaying Framework, I'm just going to call it the framework from here on. I think it's more tailored towards things like Dungeons and Dragons, Old School Essentials, or Shadow Dark, or those types of games. But I'm going to do my best to make it work with For Against Darkness. So yes, so those decks are part of what I intend to use. Then I also have the Pocket Lands cards, and I have a few different ones, and they look like that. So I have the hills, grasslands, forests, roads, swamps, bogs, and mountains on the table, so that I can use those in case the party decides to leave the city. And then finally, I have the Game Master's Apprentice sort of oracle cards. Put one of those down. So that's what I will use for an oracle, and that is also where I'm gonna get sort of random ideas if I need things outside of the framework. Right, so I think that was it. I don't think anything else has to be said before I get started, so I am just going to get going. And well, the party is going to be in a town, so let's see if the GMA can give me the name of a town somehow. Cannon Tamasin Kellamon. Kellamon sounds like a good name for a city. So they are in Kellamon, and I think they are in a tavern in Kellamon, and the name of the tavern is the lycanthrope's bite. Slightly ominous, but we're going with that anyway. Lycanthrope's bite. All right. So then let's see. When you are in a tavern, you can use some kind of a social skill in order to listen to some rumors, and there is also a 1 in 3 chance of an encounter. So let's start by having the characters talk with some of the people in the tavern and see if they can find anything interesting out. I am going to say that Morgan the rogue as well as Freya the cleric are good candidates for socializing. Magnus the wizard is unhappy unless it's a book, and Darren the warrior, even though he is probably the party leader, I am going to say that this is not his specialty. For Against Darkness, they suggest that clerics are sort of high charisma and diplomatic characters. And then I am going to say that the rogue is good at these types of things. So, I am going to explain as I play how to play For Against Darkness, but I have to admit that I have played it in the past quite a bit, but it was a while ago, and now I have skimmed through the rules, so mistakes are likely, but I will do my best and hopefully it improves as I go along. The dice are color-coded, and you can see on the screen which character has which color, and when you roll for a skill, it's sort of like a saving throw. So generally it starts out as a d6, and then you have to roll the same as the difficulty or higher, and if you do, then you are successful. Some characters may get a +1, and some characters might even get to add their whole level. But for this, I am going to say that they simply roll their d6s without a bonus. And the difficulty is going to be 3. So here goes. Well, Freya is successful while Morgan is not. So let's see what Freya learns. And then Tavern Rumor Table, D66. 21 is the rumor that Freya gets to hear. A powerful necromancer has been raising an army of undead in the nearby graveyard. Ouch. Well, that certainly would get her upset, as she is a cleric of a good deity and a natural enemy of the undead. So let's put that down as number 21 on page 12. Necromancer. All right. Well, I am not going to directly act on that, though, but perhaps it is, if the rumor turns out to be true, then perhaps it is going to be connected to a quest or something similar later on. So let us see if there is an encounter, and there is a 1 in 3 chance, so a 1 or a 2 on the d6, and there is an encounter in the tavern. There is no encounter in the tavern. So then the party is going to go to the notice board in town to see if they can find a quest. And they are going to Well, first let's see if there is an encounter on the way over to the notice board. Whoops, dropping the dice. And I'm just going to say it's the same chance or risk. So a 1 or a 2. Nope, no encounter on the way. That means they reach the notice board without a problem. Now let's see here. Okay. Okay. And it is a D66 again. So the first quest that they find is number 17. No, 16, sorry. Rescue mission. A group of villagers has been captured by goblins. Rescue them and eliminate the threat. Payment upon successful completion. See the captain of the guard. Alright, that seems like a fair place for a starting party to begin their journey towards fame and glory and supreme riches. So page 8 and number 16. Goblins plus captain of the guard. Alright, but let's see. I am going to go with 3 quests. That seems like a good number. So I'm going to roll up another 2 and then I'm going to see what seems to be the most, either the most pressing thing to take care of or the most interesting thing to take care of. Another D66, number 14. The cursed forest. The woods to the east are cursed, and we seek brave souls to lift the curse. Beware the creatures within. Visit the temple for more information. All right, so that would be page 7, number 14. Cursed forest. And then you contact the temple. All right. And the third and final quest would be number 21. The haunted mansion. Local legend speaks of a haunted mansion on the outskirts of town. Investigate the source of the hauntings and put the spirits to rest. Contact the Adventurers Guild. All right, so that would be page 8, number 21, and the haunted mansion. All right, well, so which quest would the party go with? I think the goblins, simply because generally then you know what you're getting. A cursed forest could contain anything, and a haunted mansion could contain anything, and it's pretty likely they are undead in the haunted mansion, and cursed forest, who knows. So I think because there doesn't seem to be any obvious or very pressing time limit to any of these, the party is going to, or rather Darren, who is the leader, is going to decide that they are going to go after the goblins. So they are going to go to the captain of the guard. And I am not going to roll for another encounter right away again, but rather they are going to get to the barracks where the local guards hang out. So let's see, what was that? Page 8, number 16. Group of villagers have been captured by goblins. Rescue them and eliminate the threat. Payment upon successful completion. See the captain of the guard. Right. Okay, so they are going to go find the captain and the captain's name, and I am using the GMA deck to generate names. Each card has 6 names. So let's say the captain of the guard is called Corey, with a strange spelling. Corey. Right. So Darren is going to talk to Corey and ask about the mission. And Corey is going to say, "Oh, you are interested in dealing with those pesky goblins, yes? Well, that would be most excellent. They have kidnapped. They have kidnapped 2d6. They have kidnapped 8 villagers. Indeed, they have. So we would pay you 80 gold." And I have to admit, I haven't really checked out how much 80 gold is in For Against Darkness. I just made that up. But that's probably going to be fine. So I'm going to put that down here, 80 GP. Right. So the goblins are they are hidden, and the GMA has directions. So they are hidden to the north, and I'm going to just generate a random type of terrain here. Let's see, rolling a d8. Number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just counting the piles of pocket lands cards starting from the left, and then the 6th pile would be grasslands. So there is a bridge to the north, and if you pass the bridge, then you will reach a small peninsula type of place, and in that place, that is where the goblins are hiding the captives. So it is just how far do you? Well, you can easily travel there in a day. Right. Oh yeah, and I forgot before when I said that none of the quests seemed like they were under time pressure because since there were captured villagers, indeed this one does seem to have a bit of a time limit. So this is the card, and that means I am going to say that this is the road that comes out of Calamon to the north. And then the party is simply going to get going. So they say goodbye to Corey, the captain of the guard, and then they head out of the city towards the north. And then I have to have a look at the framework to see overland travel. There's a 1 in 6 chance of an encounter while traveling through forests, hills, swamps. 2. Well, since I'm following a road, there is only a 1 in 6 chance of a random encounter. So I am going to be traveling 1, 2. Well, I have rectangles instead of hexes, but I'm going to treat them as if they were hexes, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4 rolls for random encounters before, well, actually 3, because then in the 4th rectangle is where the goblins are going to be located. The party is following a road, so there is only a 1 in 6 risk of a random encounter per rectangle. So first one, no. Second one, no. And third one, no. No random encounters on the way to the goblin lair. All right, so the dungeon generation in the framework works this way. You determine the number of rooms by rolling a d6 plus 4. All right, well, they are goblins, so I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that they have a small dungeon. So that means that we have 5 rooms, and then so there's the entrance room. I'm just gonna put a 5 there, and then roll a d6. 1 to 3, there's a monster encounter in the room. And then roll on the dungeon monster encounter table. On a 6, there is a hidden treasure in this room, protected by a trap. All right, so the party successfully travels along the road north. It is daytime when they set out, so it is perhaps late afternoon or even evening when they reach the goblin lair. Let's turn to the GMA cards to find something out about the entrance to the goblin lair. Let's see. The clattering of bones. All right, so let's say the goblins have made wind chimes of. I told myself I wasn't going to go for the mud and the blood and the doom and the gloom and make everything horrible this time around, but here I go anyway. And they have made wind chimes of human bones, and they clatter in the wind as the party sneaks up on the entrance. So then, are there goblins guarding the entrance? Perhaps I am going to say that the odds are good that they are, and then I'm going to flip this card over and see. Then the answer was yes. So there are indeed goblins outside of the lair. And I'm going to have to put this card away so I don't draw the same card again. So let us see then. Goblins, minions, they are level 3. They are also a d6 plus 3 in number. So there are 8 goblins outside. 8 goblins. Well, then, well, since this is 4 against darkness, there is no sneak attacks. There is no, well, surprise actually exists. And let's see, right? Isn't the goblins have? Oh, look, the goblins are the ones that have the ability to surprise the party. Generally, there is no surprise. Generally, how it works is that the the characters go first unless they want to find out what the monsters or thing that they have encountered, what they are doing. So by forfeiting the initiative, sort of, then you can roll on the reaction table that every character has. So I'm gonna put down the goblin there on the table, and yeah. So let us see. Goblins have a 1 in 6 chance of gaining surprise if they act before the party roll on their reactions table to determine their action. Oh, that was interesting. Well, let us see then. A 1 in 6 chance, and no, they rolled a 2, so they do not get to surprise the party, and that means the party goes first. And then we are going to have our first combat. And so the way it works is that for attacks, you roll, and then depending on your class, you may or you may not add something to the roll. And warriors add their whole level to the roll. Rogues add their level if the party outnumbers the enemy, and they are minions or they are vermin. I think technically in the rules it doesn't say vermin, but I'm going to say also vermin. Wizards don't add anything unless they are casting a spell. And finally, clerics add half their level rounded down for all attacks and their whole level versus undead. And then on top of that, if you have a two-handed weapon, you add a +1. If you have a normal weapon, you add nothing extra. And if you have a light weapon, then you have a -1. And then I'm sure there are a bunch of special weapons, magical weapons and things in the adventures and supplements and things. But to begin with, this is how it is. So that means, and I don't think that I have done anything exotic. No, Darren has a sword and a shield and a light armor. Morrigan has a dagger and a light armor. Freya has a mace, a shield, and a light armor. And Magnus has a staff that counts as a light weapon, and he has no armor whatsoever. So, yeah. All right. And I get to pick the order that the characters attack. So that means that Morrigan, the rogue, always attacks last, because then there is a chance that the enemies are have been decimated, so that in fact the party outnumbers them, and then her attack becomes stronger. And I think that was everything. Yeah, and also it works this way that if the goblins have a level 3 and I roll an attack that is 3, then 1 is killed. But if I roll an attack that is a 6, then 2 are killed, 9, 3 are killed, 12, 4 are killed, and so on. And also all character actions, including attacks, are rolled with exploding dice, meaning that you can, with some luck, just slaughter scores of enemies in one attack. Unfortunately, my phone ran out of memory because I had not double deleted my previous videos, but it didn't matter too much because I didn't lose a lot of footage. But we are now entering combat with the 8 level 3 goblins. So here we go. Attack rolls. Oh my. Well, let's see. First of all, Darren with a +1 kills 1 goblin. Then we have the cleric adds nothing but kills 1 goblin. Then we have the wizard actually being potentially the MVP. With a 9 -1, 8, killing 2 goblins. And that means, well, we actually still don't outnumber because we are equal in number, meaning that the rogue attacks with a -1, which means she kills 1 goblin. And that means there are 3 goblins left. And then I can decide who is not going to be attacked, and that is going to be Magnus, and everyone else rolls to defend. and then they are looking for a 4 or higher, and Darren has a +2, Morgan has a +2, and also Freya has a +2. Everyone has a +2. And that means everyone succeeds, and then they can attack the goblins again. And well, that clearly put an end to the goblins. So quite quickly the party dispatches the guards outside of the goblin lair. And that is actually as far as this adventure is going to go this session. I will be continuing this sometime in the future. I have some other things that I'm going to try to get out on the channel as well, but it shouldn't be too long until this continues. So I thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.